Good morning. This is Hey Primo. Let's quickly go down to the third team in the NFC South, which is the New Orleans Saints. And New Orleans Saints have a very interesting year ahead of them. One thing that the New Orleans Saints were known of in the previous years is the quarterback position. No longer is the case. But let's quickly go down to the 2024 season. It did seem to be a very up and down season there. It was not the season they had expected. They finished the record with 5-12. It was one of the worst that they since 2005, reminiscent of a lot of the teams that go through uh, the Hall of Fame quarterbacks uh, to um, to regular middle of the road quarterbacks. So Drew Brees was being a staple in New Orleans for a long time. Was no longer there. He's long since retired. So that's what it is. But it did start very promising. I remember everybody was talking about how the Saints were going to score a bunch of points. They started 2-0. They scored 30 plus points in each of those games, actually 40 plus against Carolina Panthers. I think one of them I remember. Then they had this huge 7 game losing streak. And then uh, they got embarrassed. One was the 34 nothing shutout loss to the Green Bay Packers in Week 16, and they did miss the playoffs for the 4th consecutive year, finishing last in the NFC South, even behind Carolina Panthers. Obviously, they signed quarterback Derek Carr. Then he missed 3 games to injury, and then later retired. Dennis Allen was actually fired after week 8 or 9. And then the interim coach actually went 3-5. So that's probably the best thing they did. They finished 5-12. So um, it was pretty tough. The defense was putrid, 30th in total defense. So what did they do coming into this year? They did hire uh, a new coach, Kellen Moore, who was the offensive coordinator of the Super Bowl winning Philadelphia Eagles, youngest coach right now in the NFL. So he's probably going to bring a new offensive perspective. Um, and then what they do also, they traded Marshawn Lattimore um, and the fifth round pick to the Washington Commanders. So that's one thing they did. That's some of the key trades. And then the free agency, they bought Brandon Cooks. And then they do have a very good wide receiver, Chris Olave, but they also lost a lot of veterans in Tyron Matthew and quarterback Derek Carr. We just talked about that. Um, so let's look at what they did. They did pick a tackle in the first round, Kelvin Banks Jr. from Texas. Very solid offensive tackle um, who who could potentially solidify their offensive line. And then they did pick another quarterback, Tyler Show from Louisville, because they already had Spencer Rattler. So I think the thing is like they're hoping that he brings a lot of experience. He's a little older quarterback, 25 years old, and then hopefully he fits into the Moore's offensive system. And I'm not going to cover the other few rounds, but anyway, let's quickly look at their potential for this season. Uh, I think it'll be better than the last season. Kellen Moore's has got a very good innovative scheme. Hopefully, that should suit the rookie quarterback. Hopefully, it could be in the middle of the pack kind of thing. Chris Olave is there. You got Alvin Kamara still there. I mean, he's a little on the older side, but I still think he's one of the best running backs. And then you got Brandon Books, and then you have a good tight end in Maliki. But again, hopefully thinking the other thing also could be the offensive line. If they got Kelvin Banks. I mean, a rookie offensive lineman. I think he's going to be a first day starter. But the thing would be, and then they get their center back. So hopefully it could improve the line. But they had a very weak division as we talked about. Um, you know, every team in the division has flaws, right? Tampa won it 10-7 last year. I mean, Atlanta was 8-9, so it's a very close. And every time, I mean, when Drew Brees was there, that was a different story. But you've always seen like a different team kind of coming out on the top from there. I think the Tampa was the one team that won like back division championship, but even then it was like a 10-7. The biggest thing we talked about is the quarterback uncertainty. The defense, I don't know. I mean, they showed a lot of the things that just showed up their offensive line, but they were ranked 30th, as I mentioned before, and losing a lot of key players. It's going to be, I mean, they still have Cameron Jordan and Demario Davis, but hopefully they're hoping their draft picks pan out. Um, and that's pretty much it. And then, I mean, when I think about their outlook, they have a very tough schedule ahead of them. They start with Arizona and the Giants, and then they go to Seattle and Buffalo. So, and then that could determine how the season would go. I mean, if they start 2-2, that's a good start. But if they go on 4, that's going to be a long road ahead for them. Um, I would peg them at maybe. I mean, yesterday we were talking about um, the Carolina Panthers, where I think it was like 7-8. I think I'm more on the 6-8, 8, something like that. So I'll put them at 6 wins, 6-11, maybe 7-10 if a couple of breaks go their way. Um, I think that's where I see it from a playoff standpoint. Of 6-11 or 7-10 is not going to get it done. The only thing would be maybe this is a rebuilding year for them. You get a new coach, you got a new quarterback. Hopefully the quarterback pans out, and then this could be a good rebuild year. And I think they do need to shore up some of their defensive thing with some younger players, with a lot of aging veterans on the side. But that's where I see the Panthers, the New Orleans Saints with. So looking forward to another season. But I mean, this is it's a good test for Kellen Moore as going from an offensive coordinator to head coach of the franchise. So I'm looking forward to it. Thanks again for listening. Have a good day. And tomorrow we cover the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.